Are you trying to change your negative thoughts? I have some relief for you if you are struggling to change your negative thoughts. Always think positively so that you can move into action. When we move into action, we get more results. So, what's up, guys? My name is Kathy Callahan, creator of the Purpose Creator Action Taker University, which houses Social Sales School for the Woman Entrepreneur, our Impact Makers program, our Action Takers Club, and other things like our PCAT U90 run, our new software, and so much more. Today, popping in here on Monday, Be Social TV. If you're catching replay, say hey. Anime Sai's in the house. Girl, where you been? Where you been? What's up, Anime Sai? Missing your face. We're going to chat today about something I learned over the weekend. And what I always love to do on Be Social TV is be social. So, what's in your cup? What are you drinking today? And a shout out to Amy, Shalhin Laurie. Amy S. Hooked me up with some ketones, and I was telling her this weekend I've got one package left, and I haven't been drinking them, but back into intermittent fasting, and so I popped open my ketones from Amy. So shout out to you, Amy. So a couple things, guys. Hi, Leslie. We have this whole we know that it's hard to get motivated. How do you get motivated? Go take action, right? Action changes things. Act, ACT. Type that in the comments. Act, action changes things. But people are struggling with negative thoughts that are keeping them from taking action. And so then we try to force, right? We try to force the positive thinking, think positive, right? And then we feel like a big loser when we're flooded with all these negative thoughts. Is that you? So I was learning this weekend something I'm going to share with you guys on the cycle of core beliefs, which leads to your thoughts, which lead to your actions, and that we shouldn't actually focus on trying to change the thoughts. Okay. So do you put so much focus on the negative thinking that you have, trying to flip the script? And I do, right? Until I learned a little bit more about what's on the backside and the part that we actually can do something about. Now, if you guys were inside of Ignite Your Impact retreat last week, shout yourself out. There were 50 of us in there. And we're coming off of this incredible retreat. And throughout it, things just keep tying together, right? Everything seems to build upon another thing that we've been learning. And so, what I went through this weekend was completely coincidental. If you went over to my personal page, today is May 8th, 2023. If you went over to my personal page late on Saturday night, I posted my whiteboard. Did anybody see my whiteboard? And I'm going to read a bit of what I wrote down on my whiteboard from an audio that I was listening to that actually came from an app that I'm doing to better myself in my health. Isn't that crazy how things work? So I'm overlooking at an app to track health, like track intermittent fasting, track workouts. And Erica Watkins, we were inside of an Ignite Your Breakthrough health group that we have that is for our 30-day program, our Breakthrough for Health with my network marketing business. And Eric and I were chatting about working out. Okay. I know that if I would start moving my body again, I would have different results. So I keep trying to force myself into the actions, right? And I didn't understand the impact that my thoughts were having on my actions, but that my beliefs were actually having on my thoughts. And therefore, the thoughts that I have were actually determining the actions I do or do not take. So today we're actually going to say stop focusing on changing the thoughts. So last week inside of Ignite Your Impact Leader or a virtual retreat, we learned that thoughts, they're just going to happen, right? And you can let them stop you, you can let them fuel you, but you can't change them from happening. They're automatic. Okay. So I was making some parallels and I was thinking about automation. Who's this? Who said that? I was thinking about automation and I was like, okay, if thoughts are automatic, you can't change them from happening. But could you change the automation sequence? Do you follow? And this will all make sense as we put this together. So think literally like we have our new CRM software. I'm going to run an automation on a post, okay? Once the automation is running, it's just going to happen. And if that automation isn't getting the results that I want, I could go change the automation. But I can't stop it from happening once it started. So when it comes to your thoughts being automatic, these negative thoughts that come in, these positive thoughts that come in, and then knowing that these thoughts are actually what results in the actions that you do or do not take, you might feel defeated. Because if you're flooded with negative thoughts, therefore you don't take any actions, you might feel like, well, how can I force myself into action because I can't stop all these thoughts in my head? Does that make sense? So if you accept number one, that automatic thoughts are automatic, okay, they're just going to happen, then you're going to quit forcing so hard when a negative thought comes in to beat yourself up, to ask what's wrong with me, why do I have all these thoughts, and then somebody else has all these positive thoughts. So here's what we're going to dive into today. Understanding number one, that automatic thoughts do affect your actions. So if we know the positive or negative thoughts are going to affect the actions that we take, and we can't force the thoughts out of our head, how can we then change the automation sequence that keeps popping into our head? This is where core beliefs come in. So type in the comments below, core beliefs, C-O-R-E, core. Now, here's the thing about core beliefs. Core beliefs actually come from, they're not factual, okay? So let's state this fact. Core beliefs are not facts. That's a fact. It's a fact that core beliefs are not facts, but your core beliefs are what affect your automatic thoughts, and your automatic thoughts are what affecting the actions you do or do not take. And your actions affect the results that you are or are not getting. Do you understand the cycle? Core beliefs lead to your thoughts, automatic thoughts, thoughts you can't change. They're just keeping on popping in, but you can affect where the thoughts are coming from. That's what we're going to focus on with our belief system. Core beliefs go to thoughts, thoughts go to actions, actions lead to results. And if you look at motivation in there and you say, oh, I'm waiting to get motivated, I'm waiting, come on, motivation. And then you understand that you need to go act in order to be motivated instead of wait till you feel like doing things. You're like, wait, where does this all play in? Okay, so I'm going to read through the whiteboard writing that I scribbled all over and shared with you guys on my personal page. And I'm going to, before I do that, just let you guys know that tonight, Monday, May 8th. Wait till we dive into this more, Anna. It'll all make sense. When we come together tonight, if y'all missed Ignite Your Impact Retreat last week, we missed you. We're sorry you weren't there. But tonight I'm actually going to do a 1 hour retreat, 1 hour RDV, Readers Digest version. So tonight, come here, 6 o'clock Central, wherever you're seeing this video. I'm going to do it on my business page. I will stream it to YouTube. I will stream it to Social Sales School, and I'll stream it, of course, into the Ignite Your Impact retreat that this all happened in. And we're going to keep building on the things that we've been learning. Okay. But we did this manifesto. And if you did the manifesto, it is your 3-year letter to yourself. Okay. It's as if 3 years from now, you took massive action, what your life would look like. And you're writing to me as if we hadn't seen each other for 3 years, or you're writing to yourself and you're telling yourself, look, because of all the actions I took, look at the results I got. Look at the life I have now. right? Look at how peaceful I am about things. Look at how my business has grown. Look at how my relationships are healthy. But the difference between today and 3 years from now, or the difference between today, the things you have now, and the things you want, are going to depend on the actions that you take. So if you look backwards, okay, and you say, well, how I got here is a result of the actions that I did or did not take up until this point. It's a accumulation of all the things. And you go, well, gosh, I don't want that to be the same story. I want to keep growing, right? And I have these big dreams. Therefore, I must take action. But every time I go to take action, I'm flooded with all this negative thought, which for most of us is what? I'm not worthy. I don't know if I can do it. I don't feel like I'm enough. It's the whole imposter syndrome. So these thoughts, if you can't change them, what can you change? All right, let's dive in. So join me tonight. Let's build from what we're going to do today and fill you in on all the things you did miss from Ignite Your Impact. And plus, come because we're going to do some awesome fun extras with some specials and prizes for those of you that come tonight. If you didn't get to come to the retreat or you have a team that didn't get to come, have them join us. We focused mostly on building the brand of you, building your dream empire, your dream business. If that is scaling up in your network marketing business, becoming a leader, if that's adding on to your network marketing business because you understand that you're the entrepreneur and yes, you can, right? That was our focus last week. All right, here we go. Automatic thoughts affect actions. Automatic thoughts affect actions. Automatic thoughts affect actions. Fact. Fact, colon, automatic thoughts affect actions. Okay. Fact. Don't argue the facts, okay? What was once believed is no longer true. People used to say it's simply a stimulus response, but it's not. It is our automatic thoughts that are affecting our actions, and our automatic thoughts are rooted deeply in your core beliefs. So if automatic thoughts affect your actions, okay, now we can role reverse. We can say, oh, I was going to do this in my business. Oh, I had all these great intentions. Why didn't you do it? Okay, go back a step. Well, it's your thoughts, your positive or negative thoughts that are affecting your actions. And then you're trying to force yourself into positive thinking. Get rid of that stinking thinking, right? It's what we all do. And then you feel like a big loser when you can't get rid of the thoughts and the thoughts are affecting your actions. You're like, cyclical. Okay, now step back from thoughts. Core beliefs. Your core beliefs affect your automatic thoughts. Automatic thoughts deeply rooted in core beliefs. What are core beliefs? Remember what we said earlier? Type me some notes, guys. Core beliefs are not facts. Core beliefs are not facts. All right? Core beliefs are simply the results of your childhood experiences and circumstances leading to your adult life. Core beliefs are a result of your experiences, your circumstances, okay, from where you were to where you are now, from your childhood to adulthood, things you experienced, things you saw, circumstances you were in. And core beliefs become things that we believe simply because we didn't ask enough questions and we bought into that being the truth. Example. Were you criticized or were you praised for certain things? And remember, I got this all initially from a health app. So I was going into this learning about this for why I'm not taking action in moving my body. And I was sitting there trying to figure this out, but this applies to everything. So let's pretend you're like me. Well, let's go the food route because hello. And you find yourself binge eating, which I do, and I have my whole life. And I don't want to. And I try to force the different action, right? And then there's these different thoughts that come into my head right before I, get out the whatever, Twizzlers and pretzels and what else did I eat? Slim Jims, and not to the extent that I'm satisfied, but beyond that, right? And then you think, well, what were the thoughts that I had before that? And where did those thoughts stem from? And so if it is example eating, and maybe you were criticized or praised for certain things, example, maybe you were praised if you ate all the meal on your plate, or maybe you were criticized if you didn't. My kid's grandfather would always praise them for like cleaning their plate, right? And I remember some of the things my mom said to me about food. And not that she didn't have good intentions, but I remember some of the foods that I would eat, and she would say, "You might as well just put it on your hips. Like, you might as well just like rub it on your hips." Like, she was joking. But I remember that got in my head. Right? And I remember her saying things like when I wore an underwire bra and then I had fibrocystic breasts, she's like, "That's because you wear an underwire bra." Like, everything was always a result of something I did. It couldn't have been just like it was. And that was probably from her, upbringing. And she had to change some of that. Right. And so you buy into these things. So if it is food and you say, "Oh, I was always praised for cleaning the plate, or I was criticized for not," and now your core belief becomes, "I can't resist food." Right? Then later in life, what might actually end up happening, the incident that happens is maybe you gain weight, right? And then this automatic thought gets formed that says, "I can't control myself when it comes to food. I'll always be overweight, or I'll always be a binge eater." And then the reaction ends up being guilt, sadness. And then what do? You overeat more, you binge eat more. And so I was looking at this whole cycle and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was applicable to the situation I'm in. So, whatever your situation is, where are your core beliefs playing into these thoughts? Core beliefs, you guys, and I know that you can see this in other people. And if you can see this, we talked about this in retreat last week. If you can stand back and you can see this global view, this actually factual thing, as if it weren't you in the situation, but it were someone else, okay? And if you would have a different thought about it, if it were someone else, there's proof right there that that thought is not true. Okay. Or that belief is not true. So if you look at core beliefs, here's what's going to happen. No matter what your core belief is, core beliefs are so strong. You will affirm them, you will justify them, and you will never truly question them. Your core beliefs are so strong that no matter what they are, if you're convinced that you cannot stick with a workout plan, if you are convinced that you are not worthy, if you are convinced that you always will be a binge eater, if you are convinced that you will always attract people into your life who need you, right? Who you need to save, if you are convinced of that, you will justify and you will see everything as proof of that. You'll see every inconvenience as a justification for things, right? If it goes back to food, and this came from the app, the exact example they said, if you continue to need dessert to feel full, then you will always feel dissatisfied after a meal. If your core belief is, and I say this all the time, gosh, it makes me question myself about like, how much have I reinforced some of my core beliefs not knowing it? Therefore, that has resulted in negative or positive thinking. Therefore, that has resulted in certain actions. I've always said that I need to have something sweet after a meal. Why? I don't know. So by telling myself that, if that's my core belief, then after every meal, I'm not going to feel satisfied unless I go have that treat. But do I really? Is that really true? So when it comes to core beliefs, you guys need to stop them, stop the thoughts before they start. And your automatic thoughts, remember, are not invincible. You can change them by changing your core beliefs. But we have to conquer these things by learning to identify them. So we're going to give you guys some steps. Okay. Now there's a word and it's called cognitive dissonance. And I like this. And I know we're doing some psychology stuff, but hey, if you're still here, you must be enjoying it. Cognitive dissonance is a biased interpretation of reality. A biased interpretation of reality. Okay. Now, here, if you guys go back, and I work with very successful women, and then you start these businesses, and then you get all in your head. And you say, "I'm doing everything you told me to do. I'm following the system, I'm following the steps, I'm implementing the training, but I'm not getting the results." And then we go back to like, but are you really doing the action? And you're doing all the busy work that's not really the hard things. And then we're like, why aren't we taking the actual action? And we start to realize through today, you can sign up in Action Takers Elite Club and you may not take action. That's why we came out with bigger programs like the Run and our 1-year program, because we have to dive in deeper and work a lot more closely with people to figure out what's really going on here. Do you feel me? So if you look at cognitive dissonance, a big word you might have learned in psychology, as a biased interpretation of reality, and you ask yourself, here's a way to prove it or disprove it, okay? If a friend had the same thought that you're having right now, what would you tell them? If a friend had the same thought that you're having, what would you tell them? And if it's positive and you would be encouraging to your friend, this is some proof. And if it's negative, right? And you look at your friend and you say, oh my gosh, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Your thought is not true. It's related to a core belief that you have that isn't a fact, right? Then there is simply the proof that you need, that instead of you being able to, for you, believe it or not believe it, you can see it from the outside. There's your proof. Here's your sign. You simply have a negative thought about it because it's happening to you. But if it were happening to someone else and you wouldn't have that negative thought, there's your proof. There's where you need to dig in and say, why do I have that negative thought about this? What core belief is this related to? So I'll give you a 3-step system to help you guys avoid, change some of the automatic thoughts, because once again, they're automatic. So how are we going to change them from positive to negative? How are we going to start opposite, negative to positive? How are we going to start bringing in more positive thoughts? Because if we can bring in more positive thoughts, we're going to take more positive actions. And if we can take in more positive actions, we're finally going to get the results that we want in our business. We're going to have the impact that we want to. We're going to step out of our comfort zone. We're going to know that we're worthy. And it's not just by affirming ourselves. You are awesome, right? Right? All those positive things, there's a place for that. Okay. So, you guys, in order to really start to address, number one, we have to identify that there's an unpleasant emotion and we have to label it. And we talked about this in retreat last week. And Tyler Brown with Morning Wake Me Up podcast, he was talking about, don't try to avoid some of these feelings or thoughts that are coming in as much as acknowledge them. Because he talked with us about, you can't really change them. They're just there, but they're just thoughts. Doesn't mean they're true. But if you try to like push them down or force yourself into a different way of thinking, you can feel defeated. So just label it, right? And identify the thought that's behind the feelings that you might be having, the emotions that you might be having, and ask yourself, what made you feel that way? What made you feel that way? What's behind that? There was another podcast we listened to, and the lady just said, what's underneath that? You say, I was going to take action in my business, but I didn't. Okay, what's underneath that? What's underneath that? What's underneath that? And we start to identify a pattern. And if you can identify a pattern, example, you always say you're going to, and then you make it 3 days into your weight loss program, and then you fall out, right? You run really hard for 3 days in your business, and then you fall out, right? You always give up, and then you try to get back on the horse, right? And we look for these patterns. Maybe you lash out at people, right? What are your patterns? And we start to see any patterns, and we ask, are these patterns a result of any automatic thoughts? And then we make a conclusion, and we label it what it is. Cognitive dissonance is a biased interpretation of reality. Doesn't mean it's true, right? So in order to avoid some of these negative thoughts, here's a 3-step system. If our beliefs, core beliefs, and core beliefs are not true, it is just what you have told yourself is true based on your experience as a child, based on your circumstances as a child, leading up to now, you have bought into core beliefs. This is why some of you will be in the exact same situation as someone else. And one person will tell themselves one story, and one person will tell themselves another story. And the outcome will be polar opposite based on the core beliefs they have. If you guys watched the Firefly Lane, is that what it's called? And you look at circumstances that are unavoidable, right? Like I think about when my mom had cancer, and I'm like, how did she keep such a positive mindset? How did she keep all her thoughts so positive, which led her to living up to the very last minute, getting her hair colored. I did a horrible job of that, by the way, but I tried. Sunday before she died, playing Yahtzee with Evan Saturday night before she died. How did she, all the way to the end, force herself into these actions and these positive thoughts? Because what did her core beliefs say? Finally, not initially, because she struggled a lot, but finally she realized she's worthy. She's loved, right? That it's not about, remember I told you earlier, some of the thoughts that she instilled in me, she got away from that. It's not always about because you did this, this happened, because you're sick because of some bad thing you did, right? She shifted her core beliefs, and a lot of that was founded in faith, right? So if our beliefs, our core beliefs can be changed, they're going to affect the automatic thoughts that are really difficult to just make them be something other than they are. But we can change them before they come in based on our core beliefs. But once they come in, we got to be like, this is a thought. Okay. It's all it is. It's just a thought. Doesn't make it true. But that thought will determine the action. Then here's your 3-step process. If you can't avoid the automatic thought, what can you do? If you can't avoid the automatic thought, but you want to come out on the other side of it so that you start having more positive thoughts, think about negative people, guys. People who have told themselves so many lies, right? I'm not capable. It's because my dad raised me this way. It's because I was locked in a closet. And that's literally a story of someone that's very close to my family. It's because of this is what happened to me. I can't now. And they're so held on to these core beliefs, which have completely determined the outcome of where they're at now. And it doesn't mean that those things weren't true, but with that core belief, they said, because my dad didn't see value in me, right? Because I was always told this, I have bought into this thought process about myself. And therefore, that determines their outcome. Number one, you just got to recognize what's going on in your head. Remember, we talked about identifying the emotion, identifying it. And number one, just be like, what's going on right now? Recognize it. Maybe you're starting off with, I can't do it. Okay, recognize that. Just recognize it. Number two, acknowledge. Oh, there's that negative thought again, telling me I can't do it. Oh, there's that negative thought again, pulling me down, right? Oh, there's that negative thought again. And then number three, remind yourself why you're on this journey. Recognize it, acknowledge it, remind yourself. Okay, I can't wait till I'm in control of my health. I can't wait till I'm in a healthy relationship. I can't wait until I have a team. I'm doing these things because I know that I deserve a team, that I don't have to pull through, right? So when I was struggling with, I was thinking about binge eating. That is my thing, y'all. You're gathering this. And I was sitting there thinking yesterday, because I had a lot of time, and I was like, oh, I think I'm probably going to bust open a lot of food and sit and watch Firefly Lane. And I was like, wow, I've really told myself that TV is only enjoyable if you eat. I've really told myself that is my core belief. My core belief is I can't just focus on the TV. I need to do something at the same time. And TV shows are not fun unless I'm also eating. It's what I've bought into. I've done it since I was little. I would come home from school and get out the big thing of ice cream and watch the after school specials and eat the ice cream. I don't know why. Got to dig into that some more, right? But I bought into this belief. And I said yesterday, I was like, oh, I told myself I can't watch a show without eating food, and I can't eat a little bit of food. I've got to eat a lot of food because I'm going to get over it. I'm going to get it out of my system, right? And I was like, step number two, acknowledge it. And I was like, oh, there it is. There's that thought again, right? I recognized it. I acknowledged it. I didn't try to force away the thought. And then number three, I was like, I can't wait for the day. This is why I'm on this journey, that I can look at food as food. And I've definitely gotten a lot better. And this is about food for me. This is about you guys have your own personal things, right? Because we're all on a different journey. And where I struggle is not where you might struggle. And so don't take for granted what comes easy to you because it doesn't come easy to someone else. My best friend Amy totally doesn't get this problem that I have with food. She doesn't have it at all, right? Now, if we went and talked business, different story, right? Different experiences, different belief systems, which have led to our automatic thoughts, which has led to our actions. All right, you guys. So I'm 30 minutes in. I've got to cut Be Social TV. This is dug deep for me. So I understand that you guys have access to a lot. You're trying to build businesses here. That's why you're here. You're on my business page, my YouTube, and inside a social sales school to build businesses. But it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get your body moving again, if you're trying to be healthy, right? If you're beating yourself up over the actions you're not taking and you cannot now identify, oh, it's those thoughts. It's all those thoughts' fault. But those thoughts are not necessarily true. Just because you think it does not make it true. I have to tell my son that all the time. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. Just because you think that people said that, or just because you think that is true about you, does not make it true. What is your core belief? That's what it results from, right? And if you look at your core beliefs as being a result of some of your experiences, possibly your trauma, right? If you didn't have trauma and you had all this, positive poured into you, right? If you have a core belief system that cannot be shaken for the good or bad, that's where your thoughts are coming from, therefore your actions. If you guys are trying to build businesses and you finally understand now, I'm trying to force myself into the action because I know I need to take the action because action changes things and action is what gets results. But I'm struggling and I'm watching everybody else figure it out. Then let's make it simple. Go back to your core beliefs. What do you really believe? Do you really believe you're not enough? Do you believe you're broken? Okay, then your thoughts are probably that you're going to fail. And your thoughts are probably that you'll never change. And therefore, your actions are that you give up. And your actions are that you're never going to try again. But if your beliefs are that you're capable and that you're valuable, then your thoughts are probably looking at things as, hey, this is a challenge. It doesn't scare me. I can do it. Right. And your actions are probably going to be that you're going to take a step forward and that you're going to start implementing change. And you're going to start taking the actions, which will take you toward your future self. All right. If you gathered anything from today, it is what it is. It's Be Social TV. Let me go see who listened. Now go search, go research from go Google it. Go Google it. Beliefs, thoughts, actions. Okay. And start realizing that you can call out your core beliefs for what they are. Right. And you can start affecting change by questioning your core beliefs and saying, is it true? Is it really true? And once you're sold out on it's true, then the matching thoughts will come in. And when the matching thoughts come in, the matching actions will come on the other side of that. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope to see you guys tonight where I'll do you the Reader's Digest version of Ignite Your Impact Retreat. It will be retreat, repeat. It will be actionable. It will be tactical. It will be some mindset stuff. And it will be the in a box real quick if you missed it. And then we're going to be doing some specials. And we are going to be doing some prizes tonight. So I hope to see you at 6 o'clock Central. No, I did not make this stuff up. It came from not Be Brave. What's the name of my app? Be You, Be Me, Be Something. Be Awesome. All from finding a workout. Like, I'm going to do a workout again. And the lady's like, hey, before you work out, we got to change your mindset. And what are your beliefs rooted in? Because you're probably not going to do the workout every single day if you got the wrong core beliefs, because core beliefs, positive, negative thoughts, actions. All right, that's it. Bye for now.